Hi everyone. This morning I'm going to continue as a part 3 session on Spelucean Explorers. And this time, last time I focused on social contract and the fact that they all agreed to roll the dice, and the very men who came up with the idea, they rolled the dice, and the dice showed that he lost and that he's the one who should be killed and eaten in the cave. Now I'm going to talk about self-defense here. The men that survived, can they have a defense or argue that they acted in their self-defense? Well, I think here we can take into consideration the fact that they all agreed to participate in this dice game. It's like a Russian roulette, and whoever loses. And in fact, that means that they lost their life. That means they knew what they were getting into and what kind of agreement they're making. And I addressed that issue early on in that video. But self-defense, I think, if, let's say, for example, even with the agreement and the dice and losing the dice, the guy who lost the bet or the dice, let's just say he defended himself and he managed to somehow subdue or kill in self-defense the other 4 individuals that were stuck in a cave with him. I think he would have a more of a case, because his life was in threat and they were threatening his life. They were threatening to kill him. There was an immediate danger, and he did it to defend himself to the best way possible. That is, it clearly presented an immediate and clear danger to his person, and he needed to subdue the individual. Now, self-defense also relies on a argument of proportionality, meaning if person hits you, you hit him back, right? But if they hit you, you don't go smashing them to the ground and completely killing the individual, because then that is not proportionate. It becomes a murder. But if somebody attacks you and hits you and you hit them back and they fall, you hit them really hard and they fall and they hurt themselves really bad, or they broke their arm, or they break their leg, or they fall unconscious and later on they die in a hospital. Again, these are very critical scenarios. But going back to the cave, the self-defense here for the defendants who actually end up killing this guy and eating him is that it does not apply, because he did not threaten them. It was not his presence who threatened their existence. It was the fact their existence has been threatened by the lack of food. And for them to, in order to survive, is that the threat is not being imposed by other individuals or by this individual or that individual, but it is imposed by the lack of food. And that fact, the lack of food, creates the environment for survival of the fittest, or the survival of those that think they should survive, or the agreement that they made. But they don't have here self-defense would not apply, because the self-defense would, if they were attacked, or they were attacked by him and he wanted to kill him and eat them instead, that would have been self-defense. But the lack of food and the lack of that, just because they did not have any food to eat, that it does not necessarily mean they can go ahead and kill the guy and eat him and claim self-defense. Because yes, self-defense is a natural instinct when your life is in danger to defend yourself. But when your life is in danger by other means other than the means of imposed by a human being, which is, at this point in time, it's not a human being who has locked them in, and they're trying to break through and try to get to this human being or anything like that, it is the lack of food. So there is no self-defense. And the question that I will pursue in this situation and pursue in terms of us and this, as a society, is that what kind of defense? Should they be prosecuted? Should they be let go when they're freed? Should they be called murderers because they did what they did in the cave and they did it because they had to survive? Or was it done, or is it a murder regardless of the circumstances where they find themselves in? But the self-defense in their case, I don't think that would be the best defense, because there is no self-defense would be if they were attacked or he attacked them and all that, and they had to defend themselves. And again, even with 4 guys against one, that's disproportionate, because one guy might be able to knock 1 or 2 guys, but not all 4 of them. So we are talking about that force. They would have a lot more force that to subdue and control the subject rather than kill him and eliminate him completely. Because in self-defense, the goal is to subdue, to control the person to the extent that it's possible without ending their life. And it is also here, nobody initiated. Yet the initiation was the contract, but the contract was not the fact a threat. It was a contract that they made among themselves. Now, just because they are down in the cave, that does not necessarily mean they can just make any contract that they want to when it comes to considering the lives of the others. What if it was us in that position, or me or you or anyone else in that position that was stuck? But again, going back to the self-defense, I don't think that self-defense here, as even Lon Fuller explores a little bit of this idea. If you go back to reading the essay Lon Fuller by the case of it's a hypothetical case by the Spelucean Explorers. So the self-defense here would not be a appropriate approach or even defensible approach in terms of their survival. But stay tuned. I will examine this issue even furthermore in terms of positive law, and how should we interpret the positive law or natural law theory in terms of this situation. Thank you.